EA UFC 6 is the greatest combat sports game ever made.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! What?
You heard me. EA UFC 6 is the greatest combat sports game ever made.
You serious?
Yeah, I'm deadly serious. And today I'm breaking down exactly why EA UFC 6 stands head and shoulders above every other combat sports game ever created. From its revolutionary fighter uniqueness and fluid striking system to its incredible presentation and attention to detail, I'll explain why I believe this is the new king of this genre. So, let's get into it. The very first reason why UFC 6 stands out and kills all other combat sports games, we have fighter uniqueness, and in my opinion, this is the most revolutionary feature in UFC 6. This isn't just a great addition to the game, it's something that has genuinely changed the standard of combat sports games moving forward. From now on, every single combat sports game developer should be looking at what EA UFC 6 has accomplished and taking notes. And yes, I'm talking directly to Undisputed 2. If you're going to make a combat sports game in 2026 or later, and you're not putting out this level of effort, detail, and authenticity into your fighters, then you are falling short. Fighter uniqueness system and individual striking animations are without question my favorite part about UFC 6. This is exactly what we wanted from a combat sports game. For years, one of the biggest issues in the genre is that fighters often felt like different skins placed on the top of the same fighter. Sure, they might have had different stats, but they didn't necessarily fight like their real-life counterparts. In UFC 6, everything has changed. Now fighters move, strike, defend, carry themselves like they really do in real life. The level of attention to detail is genuinely impressive. You can immediately feel the difference between fighters. You cannot use fighters in the same way. You have to use each fighter to their strengths. Each fighter has their own weaknesses, and you have to tailor your game plan to fighting towards their strategies. O'Malley fights like Sugar Sean O'Malley. Pereira fights like Pereira. Dominic Cruz fights like Dominic Cruz. Every fighter has their own identity, and that's something the genre has been missing for a very long time. More importantly, it allows you to truly roleplay these athletes. You're no longer just selecting a fighter based on their stats. You're selecting them because you want to experience their style, you want to move like them, you want to strike like them, and you want to approach fights the same way they would. This is where UFC 6 shines above all. The amount of work that must have gone into studying footage, creating unique animations, and capturing each athlete's unique movement patterns is honestly incredible, and it's an achievement that deserves the highest praise. EA has set a new benchmark here, and I genuinely believe this feature will influence combat sports games for years to come, and EA should be incredibly proud of what they've created. Next, we have head movement, and honestly, I think this is the best head movement system ever created in a combat sports game. The animations are absolutely beautiful. Everything feels fluid, natural, and incredibly smooth. Every slip, weave, duck, and roll flows seamlessly into the next movement, and it doesn't look robotic, exaggerated, or gamey. It looks like actual fighters reacting to punches in real time. Before UFC 6, I thought Fight Night Champion had the best head movement. That game set the gold standard for over a decade. UFC 6 has surpassed it. What I love most is that EA actually understands something I've been saying for years. When a fighter is slipping and weaving punches, their hands shouldn't remain glued to their head in a high guard position. That's not how real head movement works. When fighters are rolling under hooks, slipping under jabs, and moving their head off center line, their hands naturally move down and they leave their guard exposed. This is part of the risk versus reward which is needed and an extremely realistic part of boxing. When you are slipping and weaving, you are trading defensive coverage for evasiveness. UFC 6 captures this perfectly. The animations look authentic, and more importantly, the mechanic is balanced. There's a stamina cost for excessive head movement, meaning players can't just endlessly spam slips and weaves without consequence. Yes, you have to be intelligent using it. You also have to time your slips and rolls correct. You can slip into a strike and it will do more damage. So if you are not skilled at using it, if you do not do it correctly, you will end up being punished. Another thing I appreciate is that this game doesn't have the ugly defense meta of Undisputed. There is no simply leaning back in the center of the ring, that completely fake defensive style that wrecks immersion. There's no awkward exploits or dodgy animations dominating online play. Everything feels deliberate and polished, careful and thought out. The animations look beautiful and are incredibly responsive. They all come together to create the most satisfying moments in the game. Just like the fighter uniqueness system, this is another area where UFC 6 has set the benchmark in this genre. If future sports games want to be taken seriously, then this is the level of quality they need to be aiming for. EA has absolutely hit the nail on the head when it comes to head movement, and it's one of the biggest reasons why striking feels so satisfying. And the last one for the major positives I have for the game is what I think is a series best, and that is the UFC 6 striking system. Simply put, striking is back to being unbelievably fun. EA has essentially removed many of the restrictions that previously limited combinations, and the result is a striking system that feels fluid, creative, and expressive. For the first time in years, it feels like players can actually truly develop their own style, rather than being forced into a handful of optional combinations. In UFC 5, it often felt like everyone was fighting the same way. Players would gravitate towards the same combinations, the same patterns, and the same strategies. After a while, fights started to look repetitive. That's not the case with UFC 6. Now, if you're someone that loves to throw hook-heavy combinations, you can build your entire striking game around that preference. If you're someone that prefers throwing drab straight combinations and finishing them with an uppercut, you can do that too. Every player is starting to develop their own rhythm, their own tendencies, their own identity when it comes to striking. For the first time in a long time, online opponents don't feel like clones of one another. The freedom in the striking system allows personality to shine through, and that's something I absolutely love. There is a slight downside to this, but this is being addressed. The sheer volume of combinations players can throw kind of feels like it's closer to Mortal Kombat than a mixed martial arts game. We're seeing levels of UFC 2 exaggerated combinations. While it is incredibly fun, it can occasionally drift away from realism. There is one more thing they can do to improve the striking, and it will take it from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. And that is add in directional punches. At the moment, regardless of the direction you're traveling, you will use the same punch animations, whether you're moving backwards, forwards, side to side, the same punch animations. I would like this game to be more like Undisputed and have directional punches. I'd like to be able to move back and use that snapping flicker jab and pump it in someone's face, double it up, triple it up. I'd like to be able to move to the side and throw a check hook. I'd like to be able to throw darting strikes moving forward, and I would like to be able to throw a back step straight. If they added those few little touches to the striking system would be perfect. Striking currently is responsive, satisfying, expressive, and endlessly entertaining. Every fight feels different, every player develops their own style, every exchange feels exciting. For me, UFC 6 has the best striking system ever created in a combat sports game. In fact, I'd go further than that and say it has the best boxing mechanics in any combat sports game. And that is a huge achievement for an MMA game that has so many plates to juggle. It's not perfect, but it's innovative, addictive, and extremely fun. And that's why striking system in UFC 6 is one of its greatest strengths and a huge positive. So that is the end of all the things I think that UFC 6 gets perfectly right, but I honestly think that UFC 6 has the strongest foundations I've ever seen in any combat sports game. The fighter uniqueness is revolutionary, the head movement is the best I've ever seen, and the striking is incredibly satisfying, and for the first time ever, fighters actually feel like themselves. When I pick Sugar Sean O'Malley, it feels like O'Malley. When I pick Pereira, it feels like Pereira. They have their own identity and a level of authenticity that changes everything. The game genuinely feels like the future of combat sports. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. The movement still needs work, and if EA can nail weighted movement and a proper foot planting system, then honestly I think this game has no competition. But even with the game's flaws, I can't ignore how much fun I'm having. This is the most fun I've had on a combat sports game since UFC 2. The positives massively outweigh the negatives, and I can't stop playing it. I could not recommend it more. My final score for this game is a 9 to 9.5 out of 10. If they fix these flaws, I genuinely think this will be a perfect 10 out of 10 game for me. It has everything that I could possibly want. EA has created something special here, and if they keep listening to community feedback, this could go down as the greatest sports game ever made. For now though, UFC 6 is the king of combat sports games and thoroughly deserves that crown. With that said guys, it's going to bring us to the end of my review. Thank you to any and all people that made it this far, but I want to know what you guys have to say. Let me know in the comment section. Do you agree with what I said? Do you think the striking is revolutionary? Do you think the head movement is out of this world? Also, let me know what are the negatives. Do you agree with the stamina needs work? Do you agree that the knockdowns are crazy? Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content I got coming your way, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.